Hello, I'm Brandon Johnson. I'm with Bodybuilder Bulldogs, owner and operator of Bodybuilder Bulldogs. We raise Olde English Bulldogs, and decided to start a video series. Been asked many times by some of my clients and also by many of my peers in the Bulldog world to telling me I need to do some videos. So here we are. We're going to give it a try. I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. I've been raising Old English Bulldogs since 2012. We started with just a pair, a male and a female, and that has grown into the operation it is today. We really got big into Old English Bulldogs in 2015, really when we started doing this on a much larger scale. And so over the last decade, it's really has evolved and become quite an operation. We have over 150 litters of oldies that we've raised in our career, and that number is growing on a monthly basis. It's been a fun process, and we've decided through this video series that this would be a great opportunity for us to uh, show show the community, the bulldog community, and anybody who checks out our video here, obviously, to show them where we've come from, how we've got here, to kind of explain our journey, and to do so, for lack of a better phrase, to do so on a dog by dog basis. And so this video series is going to be a lot of different episodes. And we're going to go through our kennel through the years, dog by dog, not every single dog, but we're going to break it down in some episodes. We're going to have episodes on males or some of the boys that we've had here in the kennel. We'll do several episodes, most likely, on some of the females, some of the girls that we've had here. We'll do an episode or two on some of our up and comers, those adolescents or young adults that we have in the kennel that haven't, contributed to our lines just yet, but that we have big expectations for. We will do a video also on probably multiple videos on some of our foundational dogs, some of the two or three, maybe as many as 4 or 5 dogs that we really kind of got started with, or that have had a major influence on our kennel and on our line of oldies. And so, actually, today that's where we're going to kick off from. We're going to start the foundational series today with episode 1 with a dog that probably many of you know. If you know anything about bodybuilder bulldogs, you will know this guy. If you've looked in your pedigree, there is a high probability that you will find him in the pedigree of your dog if you own a bodybuilder bulldog. He, you could probably refer to him as our foundational stud dog. We've had some other dogs, and we've produced a few puppies, a few litters out there that don't have him in the pedigree, but there's not very many. He has had a greater influence on our kennel than any other male or female that we have ever owned or ever used. And so, without any further delay, let's talk about the man, the myth, bodybuilder's creed. This is him. Oh man, brings back lots and lots of good memories. A really cool dog. A dog that actually produced. He was born on my farm, was here, did his work here. He's retired now in a pet home, so he's unfortunately not with me anymore. That was the hardest dog I've ever let go, would have been Creed. Really cool dog. Still doing well. Still he's living in a home with some special needs kid. So he's really kind of turned into a therapy dog these days, which is good for him, man. That's a great place for him to be. But anyway, to talk about Creed, kind of give a little bit of background. Creed was born in 2015, so he's coming up on his 10th birthday. Last I saw him, he was still running and gunning, had lots of energy. He's about 16 and a half inches tall, about 60 pounds, not a big dog by any means. Probably on the smaller side of the scale for your Old English Bulldogs. But man, what a package. You can tell by the picture, and we'll show some more pictures of him. He really favored the English Bulldog side of the scale when it comes to oldies. He carries a lot of those traits, that big fat muzzle, really short legs, but yet also very athletic. If you ever saw him in person, a super fun dog. Absolutely lived and lives to chase tennis balls. If you got a tennis ball, big one, little one, does not matter, and he will go. He loves to chase those things. Pretty good drive. Temperament, extremely confident. Probably one of, if not the most confident dogs I've ever owned. Love that about him. Was never afraid of anything. Super confident about himself, no matter where he was, whether he's in a comfortable environment or uncomfortable environment. Just loved the confident um, temperament that he possessed. Now, how did we make Creed? Now, this is a fun one to talk about. I co-owned Creed's mom when I first got into the oldie world with a friend of mine. Um, I knew Chris Moore to some degree in 2015, but really have grown to appreciate, respect, and love Chris, not just for what he's done in oldies, but what he's done for me as another breeder and as a person. The way he cares about people, and just really appreciate him. But we co-owned a female together. It was a female that he had produced. Her name was Lady. Pull her up here on the screen. This is her over here on the bottom right. So that'd be right over here if I get my fingers going in the right direction. That's Lady. Lady was heavy English Bulldog, but also heavy Bull Mastiff, which is not a very common combination that you find in the oldie world, which is really a shame. Bull Mastiff has not been used that much, especially in some of our more modern lines. Brings some really, really cool traits, as you can see in Creed, and a lot of his offspring. So was really, really blessed to have the opportunity to add her to our kennel and to co-own her with Chris. And our very first breeding with Lady was with Tanner here, over here on this side, up top on the right. That's Tanner. He was a full-blooded English Bulldog. Did not own Tanner. Chris and I decided on him, mainly Chris, decided on pairing him with Lady. Really, really thick, girthy dog. He actually looks a lot more like an oldie than some of your really overdone English Bulldogs, which was a great, great fit for this breeding. He brought a lot of mass to the table. But what we were looking for in this breeding to create Creed, this is something that I think a lot of breeders don't always do well, and the more the experience that each breeder gets, the better they get at this. And that is, you want to have a plan when you go into each breeding. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? And we had some things we wanted to accomplish here. Lady was a really, really nice dog. Has some unique lines behind her with the Bull Mastiff. Her most amazing feature was her rear. She had a gorgeous, gorgeous rear end, highly angulated, incredible inner and outer thigh with really great muscle mass. So we were wanting to capitalize on that. And I decided from the very beginning when I first got Lady that I was going to keep a male puppy off of her because I wanted to capitalize on that rear end. As I was really starting to build my kennel and build my lines, I wanted to make sure that I started with a stud dog that came from some really good lines that had great rears. I wanted that really good angulation. I wanted great drive off the rear, and I wanted really good heavy muscle mass. So we got the structure and the mass all in one package on the rear. And so I was really excited about keeping a boy off of Lady because she would hopefully pass those traits on to him. But we needed something to add girth to her. She's a beautifully structured dog, really correct, but she just didn't have the mass, didn't have the girth that we wanted. We really wanted to add a little bit of head too. And so Tanner was the choice we went with. He was pretty close to what we were wanting. And I was looking for also in this breeding a puppy that carried color. Lady, the only color that Lady carried was tri. So we were trying to capitalize on that by breeding her to a tri dog, in this case, a Trindle dog, Tanner's Trindle. And so we knew by going to a blue Trindle, we could capitalize on that tri gene, that every puppy would at least carry tri and carry blue. And if we got lucky, we could get a black Trindle or black tri that carried blue. That's what we were looking for. That's what I was looking for. And there were two in the litter. It was Creed and his brother, both black Trindles. So I kept Creed. He was my pick. He was a slightly bullier, slightly shorter puppy. And so I got what I was looking for in that package. In fact, I got a bonus, believe it or not. I got a really cool bonus. Creed also carries chocolate, which comes from Tanner. Tanner was a blue Trindle that carried chocolate. We refer to that as a triple carrier. You carry a tri, blue, and chocolate. You have to have those three in order to make blue tri, chocolate, or in order to make a lilac tri, I got to have all three. And so I got a triple carrier black Trindle, which was like hitting the lottery when it comes to color genetics. When you breed just a tri-carrier to a blue trindle triple carrier. I hit the home run there. I was thrilled about that. So really cool that we got Creed as a triple carrier out of that breeding. I'm going to show you a few pictures of Creed as he grows and develops here. I'll try to slip out of the screen here a little bit. We've got over in the top right is him as a puppy. So top right is Creed as a puppy, about 8 weeks old. And then you can drift over to the top left. That's him as an adolescent. I'm going to put him at about 6-7 months old there, probably. Then you drop down to the bottom, and you've got in the bottom left, you've got him closing in on his adulthood, probably at probably 10 months old there in the bottom left. And then the last two pictures there, middle bottom and then right bottom, him as a full grown adult. Beautiful dog. Love the headpiece on him. Maybe not as big as some other dogs that I have owned and made, but just love the flavor. It just bulldog through and through. Also got some cheekbone, which is really great. Sometimes when we get too much English bulldog, we lose cheekbone. And Creed he had that nice round head. We got a little bit of cheekbone, but just the flat square muzzle, beautiful underbite, but with no teeth showing. Just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful dog. Just love the way that he came out, the way that that what we got from that breeding. Just a really, really cool dog that has influenced bodybuilder bulldogs more than any other dog has. In fact, when I last checked, he's registered through IOEBA and through ABKC. And ABKC, I know, tracks when they print registrations how many puppies the dogs in the pedigree or on the registration have sired. And last count, just through ABKC, so that's not going to count any IOEBA puppies, but just through ABKC, there was 174 puppies that have been registered through Creed, or that have been registered that were sired by him. Obviously, there are puppies that he's produced that owners have decided not to register. I don't know how many of those that there are, but just goes to show you what a major, major influence he's had, not only on bodybuilder bulldogs, but I know that he's been used by many people outside of our kennel through stud services, and has had an influence on them as well. In fact, I'm gonna show some pictures. This is by no means a complete list of Creed's kids. This is just a small snippet. I know that I have left a lot of really cool dogs out. I just don't have the time to hunt down all those pictures. Also, don't have all the space for the slides to show those. We're going to show a few pictures. These are mostly of kids that I have produced with Creed, but there are a few others that were productions of someone else. Try to remember to mention those as we go through and give credit to where credit is due. So we'll begin with just a quick puppy page here. These are a few of Creed's kids. I'm going to slip off the screen here so I can get out of Bouncy House's way. That is Bodybuilder's Bouncy House down there in the bottom left. And we have, this is one of my favorite guys up here in the top left. This is Chet. He lives down in the Dallas area now. Gorgeous, gorgeous lilac tribe puppy off of Creed. He made 2 or 3 puppies in his time that looked like this. I kept one as a stud dog. We'll see him on the next page, and he will have his own, if not his entire episode, he will have at least a partial appearance in an episode. He ought to take up some significant time. He probably will show up in a foundation episode as well. His name was Grand Slam. Looked so much like Chet. Same color, same big nose rope, same build. You would have thought they were litter mates if you saw them together. This is Delta down here. This is a girl I kept. Just another one of Creed's beautiful puppies. Here's several other puppies here on the far right that were kept by, or that were produced by Creed. Just you can see the consistency, those really English bulldog flavors. You get nice cheekbone in addition to the English bulldog flavor, which you don't often get. Oftentimes those two things don't go hand in hand. Just love that about his puppies. They were gorgeous, gorgeous pups. Just so proud of the way that he produced. Let's go to the adults. Let's see how some of Creed's puppies turned out. So here we go. Here's some of Creed's puppies as adults. So I'll get my pointer going here so we can hopefully get this to show up. This girl up here in the top left is Kia, another dog that's had a really big influence on our kennel. She'll show up in quite a few pedigrees. of Bodybuilder Bulldogs. She's the only girl that made my sheet here. Nope, that's not true. Raven made my sheet. There were a lot of really nice girls that Creed made. We just, for sake of time and space on putting these together, we just put her and Raven on here. Kia was one of Creed's earliest productions and made some beautiful, beautiful puppies. This is Raven right here. Try to slip out of the way. Another gorgeous girl that sired by Creed, and you can see a lot of the similarities there. And then top right, I talked a minute ago about Chet and Grand Slam, how they resembled each other so much they could have been litter mates. This is him. This is Grand Slam right up here. One of my favorite dogs that I've ever produced was a Creed son, taller, bigger than Creed, and one of the prettiest headpieces I've ever seen on an Old English Bulldog. Some people like different flavors than this one. This is almost my ideal version of an oldie head. You get a lot of the English Bulldog flavor, but you got a slightly longer muzzle, but yet still all the wrinkle, and you get really heavy cheekbone, which gives it that beautiful round appearance. So love that about Grand Slam. Apollo is probably the most well-known Creed son out there. He lives in Seattle with a friend of mine named Rich. A gorgeous dog in person. He looks in person and in pictures like a straight-up English Bulldog. Carries all those English Bulldog features. In fact, funny thing, Apollo and Kia are litter mates, come from the same breeding, from the same litter, same age. So you can see some of the variation you get even amongst oldies. You get this dog here that looks like a straight up English Bulldog, and then you get Kia, who's a little bit cleaner, a little bit thinner version of an oldie. But Apollo, probably the most well known Creed son. Absolutely crazy headpiece, insane cheekbone, one of the fattest muzzles I have ever seen, and a really, really cool and unique coat. He's a blue trindle, but does not have a stitch of white on him from nose to tail. No white whatsoever, and really, really cool trindle markings. You may be saying there's nothing unique about trindles, and for the most part that's true. But Apollo is actually what we would refer to as a double trindle or a double brindle. He cannot produce clear pointed puppies, and so his trindle markings are a little bit more unique. They stand out a little bit differently. Really cool. One of my favorite dogs ever produced by Creed. We got Charlie over here, who is actually not a litter mate, but has the same parents as Grand Slam. Grand Slam and Charlie, both Creed kids, and their mom was a dog called Shoshone, owned by my friend Larry Kitchell at Osage County Bulldogs. We did that breeding, I believe, 2 different times, at least 2, and got Charlie and Grand Slam from 2 different litters. I also have Charlie here at my house now. He's co-owned with me and Larry. Gorgeous dog, probably the dog of everything that Creed has produced that resembles Creed the most. He's got a bigger head, he's got more girth, but if you stood them next to each other, they look just like father and son or brothers. Really, really cool dog. And then here's another one, Maverick, a little bit bigger dog off of Creed than what we would typically get, produced by my good friend Chris and Gina Moore at Bulky Built and Saints and Sinners. He resides with me now. Another Creed son. You can see the lilac color that we get out of Creed if bred just right. Really love the shoulder set on him. So you can see the consistency. You can see the type that Creed produced. You can see why he would have such an impact on a kennel and on the oldie world, because you could just pick one of any of these dogs and a host of other ones that I didn't put pictures up for, and imagine how a dog, any one of them, would have a big influence on a kennel or on the breed as a whole. And Creed has all of these dogs traced back to him. Just an amazing producing dog, a gorgeous dog, a boy who just has a really cool temperament, has a personality that it just really attracts you to him. It's a fun dog, and then on top of that, could make some of the most beautiful dogs in the world. Feel so blessed to have had Creed here, for him to have been our foundation dog, and really for us to be able to use him to build our kennel and add some other ingredients. And those other ingredients will be things that we talk about here on some of our upcoming episodes that we'll have here pretty soon. So this is episode 1 of our foundation. And so glad that you took time to watch and listen to us today. And we'll be back with episode 2 soon. Thanks, and go enjoy your oldies.